Hello, everybody. Welcome to like literally the first episode for what are we called? You should listen.
We're called You Should Listen.
I'm
Thanks
just
for
kidding.
tuning in.
I know the name of our thing. But this is our first one, so welcome. We appreciate all the people that have liked our page and stuff. And we didn't expect that. Not that we didn't think people like us. I mean, we're pretty cool.
We're totally likable.
But no, just in general, I really appreciate everybody wanting to pay attention to what we do.
Yes, supporting.
This is kind of like what we do. We do this every day. We kind of start our day with coffee. We've been lucky enough to be able to do that with each other and interact and talk and about everything.
Yeah, we have.
Everything.
We've been very, very lucky to do that. And some of our conversations get pretty heavy, and we just kind of decided we would like to share them. We know we're not the only ones feeling sometimes the way that we do. So we're ripping the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, we're starting with a big one. What's life about? That'll take 5 minutes.
We pick super easy topics, always.
Yeah,
totally.
They're like, wow, that's holy shit. It's awesome. No, but seriously, this is something we talk about all the time, and not just us. We talk about this all the time, but the way the world has changed since we were kids, and or since the pandemic, for example.
Yes. Yeah.
What everybody goes through in the world, what we all go through in our jobs and our families, and how this plays out. So we've started out with some sort of notes to start, but that's kind of the intro. What's life about?
Right, and how our perspective has changed since we were kids. What did we want to be when we were growing up? And
what did you want to be?
I
don't know this, by the way.
I wanted to be a cosmetologist to soap opera stars.
No.
Yeah, I did. Totally.
I
wanted to
love that.
I wanted to do hair, makeup, and all the stuff. Which I guess.
Why though? Why did you want that? I'm just curious. What made you not why you dummy? Why did you like that? But what made you want to do that?
So my grandparents, all of them, watched soap operas faithfully, always. Young and the Restless, General Hospital,
all my children.
Days of Our Lives, all of that.
My mom called them her stories.
Yes, and my grandma, both sides of grandparents' stories.
They call it stories too?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's cool. That must be
sit
the thing.
There and watch stories every day, same time. It was great. So I noticed that they were always done up so nice, and wondered how they did that. So that's what I wanted
the 80s.
to do.
Everybody was done up, so
they were
plastically and nice.
Yeah,
you would have had a good gig at that, though. You're really
for
good
a while.
At that stuff.
Now there aren't really any soap operas anymore, so it was lucrative for a short time. I guess it would have been.
I mean, no, there's people making a hell of a living doing that.
Yeah, I should have done it. I should have, but
I wanted to be a pilot.
I stepped in. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I did. I loved planes. That was my thing. My first thing was I loved planes. I can still tell you all the aircraft insignia of American planes, some other countries' planes too. Loved it. Yeah. It was my first go around with the military. I love military things. So yeah. So what about you? What was you guys? What's your first thing? So the reason we talk about this stuff is part of it is what did you want to be? Are you doing what you love?
Yeah. Are you actually doing those things that you thought you wanted to do as a kid?
Yeah. If you want to be a lawyer or a doctor, all that crap people say when you're kids, right? No, one of the things that came up this year with my son, Mike, is he graduated high school. And I started getting this stuff coming at me from the school about his guidance counselor and hey, what does Mike want to be when he grows up? I'm like, I don't know what I want to be.
Right. Exactly.
The idea that you're coming at him with that is such a big question. So I'm that's one of the reasons we want to talk about this, because we live in Florida. I'm from Massachusetts, New Hampshire area.
I'm from Michiana. Yes, it's a real place. Indiana, Michigan combined.
They have a name for it. We don't have one in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, or New Hampshire.
Michiana is much cooler, but whatever.
Yeah, but I don't know. What do people want to do when they grow up, and do they actually do that?
Right.
And is it even realistic to choose something so young. And are you doing exactly what you want to do? I'm a musician. A lot of people know that. I've been doing that. But I started late. I was 19 years old when I found that.
Which is hilarious that is considered late. I mean, do you have to give your kid, drums at age 2 and that's what they have to do for the rest of their life?
Yeah. Well, I came from a big sports family. My brothers were all athletes. So I didn't have a lot of choice in that. That was like, hey, Mike, you're the 4th guy. Let's go play baseball, But I was very creative, very young. And that's just something that I don't know if I wanted to play an instrument. I didn't think about it. And then when I was 19, I just started doing it. And it turns out to be an incredible passion of mine. Shannon's a writer, by the way.
Love to write, love to read, writing my first book. So in a way, I guess I'm doing a little bit of what I wanted to do. That was something I wanted to do later after cosmetology stuff,
Right.
So always loved reading, always loved to dabble in all kinds of different types of literature, but mostly just making stuff up.
Yeah, it's cool. No, it's your book is absolutely amazing. Hopefully you guys can read it soon, or whenever you get it done.
Whenever I finish it, I have to finish it.
I've read it so far. It's absolutely amazing. If you love like sci-fi, fantasy, which I obviously do.
Star Wars is on there.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And we didn't plan this, just for the record.
Thing. No, we did not.
He walked out and I was like, I'm wearing rainbows too. We had no idea. So just saying, we're not always going to coordinate our clothes. It just happened. These are things I do love, though: sunshine and sharks. So
it's like your gig. Sharks is your gig.
Totally
That's another podcast probably for us.
Maybe
people who love sharks, Shannon. You could just, I would just sit over here and
drool in the corner. Great.
Yeah, don't tell him I drool.
Sorry.
Anyway, but no. The larger question is, what's life about? That's something we talk about a lot, and about what do we want to be when we grew up or when we were young, and is it even a realistic question to ask people? Is it really realistic?
Right. And so to put another kind of spin on this, one of the things that we talk about is this thing Mike and I call the treadmill. When we got together, we realized our relationship was unlike any other we'd had. And
for sure,
it sparked something in us. It's amazing, actually, what it sparked in us. Lots of things. But mostly, we love being around each other. We just really like to be together. So we decided kind of that the treadmill, otherwise known as what society thinks you should do, going to work, really was not something that we wanted to do all the time, because life is short. Life is precious.
Well, that's it. That's the rub right there, that a lot of people learned in 2020, that life is too short. And we moved to a place that's, warm, because, she has Michigan winters and I have New England winters. So my main thing moving here was to get away from the snow. But then everyone else did that during 2020.
Right.
That's what a lot of people don't realize, the population change in Florida.
It's exploded down here.
Yeah, it's incredible. So, and, I know those of us up north, we think, oh, let's go to Florida. It's cheaper. It's not as cheap anymore.
No, it's changed a lot in the years we've been here.
Yeah. So it sparked our conversations about how we could be around each other more often. I know that sounds like crazy, but
we actually like each other.
We actually like hanging out with each other. So I guess the question to people out there: do you like your spouse? Do you like hanging around with your person? We didn't add that to our list of questions. But,
we didn't.
But no, it's a good question, because a lot of people, they, not to rip this Band-Aid off, but a lot of people aren't happy. And
yes,
maybe going to work is an escape. That's something that a lot of people probably don't realize.
Well, and that's what I mean too by our relationship is different, because we've both had relationships where maybe we didn't want to be with that other person all the time, but we do. Yes. We genuinely like each other. We work well together. We have all these things. So it's just sparked a lot of conversations, a lot of really in-depth things, like how we can make that happen, and still pay the bills. And what society thinks of that, how it supports us or doesn't support.
And how things change, like from us being children earlier, that conversation about like Mike and what he's going through, and that leads to like the holiday that we're in now, which is Christmas. So the other night I've seen Polar Express 10,000 times.
I've seen it once.
My son Mike used to watch it in July. It was like his favorite movie.
Yeah.
But it was something about it the other day that's kind of made me think for a second. It's what it's made to do. If you don't know the movie, it's a spoiler. It's been out for a while. So if you haven't seen it, tough shit. But no, the kid is like, he's at the cusp of his life where he doesn't know if he believes in Santa Claus anymore. And before the big train comes, he's reading a book and he's saying, oh, nothing can live in the North Pole. He's like talking himself out of believing.
Right.
So at the end of the movie, there's this bell and he hears the bell and he actually doesn't hear the bell. And then finally he convinces, I'm like, I actually do know. I believe. And then he rings the bell and then he learns at the end of the movie, it's Tom Hanks, and they're talking about how his parents can't hear it anymore. And eventually his friends couldn't hear it anymore. So it's like a larger conversation about what happens to us when we're kids.
Yeah, and how we lose the magic.
Yeah,
how we lose that, how you don't hear that anymore.
100%.
And, we all get on the treadmill. We think we graduate high school, now we're going to college, or we're choosing a job, and then you're supposed to have a family, and you kind of maybe lose, not everyone, hopefully some of you didn't, but maybe you lose that passion for whatever you thought you wanted to be, and you don't do it. And you just get on that treadmill, and then you meet somebody amazing and realize that treadmill sucks. So
yeah, the treadmill always sucks, by the way. It's never not sucked. It's always been a thing. And then the other thing is like, how about being present? Like something we talk about all the time is how can you become more present? Like how can you enjoy where you are? Like we're always going somewhere else.
Right. Where are you trying to go? What are you trying to get to? Yeah. The moment is really all you have. The present is the only thing that is guaranteed.
It is.
You have no idea what's going to happen.
We're all like shaped by what happened to us, and we're always looking towards what the next thing is.
Right. The future.
That premise has taught me, and it's taken me a really long time to come to terms with the fact that sometimes I don't know how to just be. I'm always looking at what the next thing is, the next dollar to make, or the next vacation, or snare drum. I have a lot of those. Like,
they're beautiful though.
Like stuff, getting stuff, or what am I going to do? I learned this year. One of the things we talk about this, me and fitness. I've lost 30 pounds this year.
He's doing amazing.
Yeah, I work my tail off.
Super hot.
But I've done it.
Sorry, I don't know if I can even say that, even though I mean muscles.
But I realized it this year. I've lost 40 plus pounds like 6 times. And I hate losing weight. Yeah. Right? Anyone that's ever done that, especially as we get older, it sucks. And I feel great now. I wear all the clothes I want, and I've worked my butt off again. But the problem is that I never remain there. I'm always worried about what am I going to do when I get to, 195 pounds? Then what?
Right.
Well, the answer to that is I gain the weight back. And it's like, if you look at it as a microcosm for like life and what we do and what we don't, and how we're always trying to get somewhere. That's kind of the whole point of this episode, guys, is what's life about?
Yeah. Enjoying the moment, being present, realizing what you have, what gifts you've been given, the time that you have with whoever's important to you, just enjoying your life. Mike and I have seen some pretty sad things, like say, for instance, on social media with friends losing loved ones. Yeah. And it's another thing we talk about is like taking people for granted. There's someone in particular I've watched grieve this year, and it is heartbreaking. Oh, yeah. And every time I see a post, I tear up. It's absolutely devastating. And
because she's so moment by moment.
Oh, yeah. You realize what's important. You really do. And so to me, and I'm guessing to you, that's what life is all about. Just really being present, enjoying the gifts you're given, even in the really tough times, because you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, no. And it occurred to me, I won't name the name, but I had a friend this year, a musician who died. And I actually didn't play that much with him. I did like 2 gigs back in like more than 2 gigs, probably like 5 or 6 gigs with him. And I saw online, I remember we were talking, because he used to play in a tribute band. And I was like, oh no, there's this tribute up north. So I went to look for him. And that's when I realized he was battling cancer. And it really, really affected me. I mean, I lost people even closer to me. One of my best friends, Larry, years ago, died when he was 34 years old. And it was devastating to me to see someone so young perish. But what it did to me was like, oh my God, wow, that's unreal. So I wrote him a message. It was like, hey man, I'm here for you. Like, just, I didn't really know what to say.
Yeah.
But then I found out he died. He died about, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago. And it had this profound effect on me. And then I'm looking at people's responses. And the prayer things.
Yes. The emojis.
The emojis with prayers and thoughts and prayers and thoughts and prayers and thoughts and prayers and prayers to his family and all this stuff. And I'm not saying all that wasn't like disingenuous. I'm sure people mean it. But do we really consider what it's like to hear the news that you may perish? And like, what would happen to you?
Right.
What changes? Like, I asked people in the audience, what if you found out you were terminally ill? If someone told you that, what do you know you would do? And what do you think it would change?
Well, as you know, at one point, I was diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
I had no idea what was going to happen. It was the scariest moment. I didn't think I'd see my kids grow up. Everything just rushes by you. You just really don't know what to do. But I can tell you, nothing wakes you up to life more. Even though we all know we're going to die, it's going to happen at some point.
Right.
But we don't live like that. We let the treadmill, we let society, we let what other people thinks, we should be doing affect us more than being true to ourselves and living our best life, living what we want to do. But nothing will wake you up from that more than getting a diagnosis like that. And you don't know. I actually was diagnosed with 2 types of cancer. And I had to go through quite a bit. And I just didn't know if I was going to make it. Like I said, it was extremely difficult.
Right.
But boy, did I appreciate everything. The sound of the birds.
Kids
I remember sitting outside in my robe one day. It was freezing out, but I was just so happy that I had the strength to get up and go sit outside on my porch and just look outside.
That's incredible.
So like taking things for granted is a huge issue that I think people do all the time. And
I'm sure
it's hard. It's hard,
and
but
your life slowed down.
It slows
frame
down.
by frame, I'm sure.
Yes.
I didn't know you, obviously, back in those
we
days.
met much later. But it gives you a greater appreciation for what you have, what you've been through, what you've accomplished, and it makes you think more of yourself instead of what someone else thinks of you. There's so many changes that happen. I just, you don't want to have to get that diagnosis, right? To start thinking what life's about, and living it and being present.
Yeah. It's kind of the point of this entire talk that we're having. What's it about? What's everything about? Especially in Western culture, we spend so much time driving to that next thing, whatever that thing is. Like
Getting
someone like
somewhere.
you went through something so profoundly hard. I've thankfully never been through that, and I don't want anyone else to go through that. But it's a reality. It's true. It's a true reality, and we've all lost people. We lost people like. You lose someone, and I remember thinking like, wow, I used to walk by that person in high school, and now they no longer live.
Right.
And like, I'm looking at them on social media, and I'm like, this feels so disingenuous. In some ways, social media can be really cool because it can connect people. I've connected with people in high school, people in my father's family, for example.
Sure.
I didn't know them. I didn't grow up with them. My father never spoke to his family, so I didn't know them. But social media has brought us together. But then it can work the other way. We've all seen it, where you go on and you see someone who has perished the earth, and I don't want to be a scroller. I don't want to be a person who scrolls by that, but we all do it.
Yes.
And
or a generic poster, thoughts and prayers. Like,
yeah, is someone going to scroll by Mike Salois when they see my name?
Right.
That's the kind of thing that I think about. I don't know that we spend enough time on that kind of stuff, that we don't sort of like stop and like consider what that person and their family
right.
is going through, because social media has a way to, disengage us from the reality.
It's personal, but it's not. It's like,
Yeah.
it desensitizes you sometimes too. That's a real person there going through something
Absolutely.
real.
That's exactly what I mean. I've lost a lot of people in my music world in my life. I don't even know how to count. I have a good friend named Artie that a lot of people know. And Artie and I talk about this all the time when we talk to each other. I've only actually been speaking to Artie. First of all, it's like I've known him my whole life. He's just one of those amazing people. People out there who know Artie know exactly what I'm talking about. But we talk about all the time how many people we already know that we have lost, and we've only been speaking to each other since 2019.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
unreal to know, to really sort of look at it. So that's what kind of what this is about.
Just living your best life.
Not to get negative about it, but just pay attention to today.
Yes.
Really try to do that. We're always trying to get somewhere.
Be you. Regardless, you are by yourself, just who you need to be, and other people don't need to validate you. I love hanging out with you, so I'm doing
same.
That's what's happening. Whenever I can. And sometimes, like, I think also little things get lost. People don't celebrate things. We're caught up in this whole aging thing, especially all us Gen Xers. You don't necessarily say birthdays, like you're embarrassed of how old you are. And I think to myself, thank God I made it to this age.
So we're so lucky.
I mean, wow, thank God I made it here.
Yeah.
And
no, we're lucky.
Yeah.
I feel lucky. I really do. Like anybody else, I have my good days and bad days, but man, I'm so blessed to make it past.
Celebrate the birthdays, celebrate the little things, kiss your spouse, hug your kids, all those things. Don't take it for granted.
I mean, it's easy to say, don't stress out, but that,
we are so stressed all the time.
We always get stressed.
We are really stressed.
I work in the real estate industry, so you can imagine the last 2 years for us. It's been crazy, but try to just be thankful every day as well as I can be, and that's kind of like why we wanted to have this as our first kind of episode, was really just to open up the conversation with people. So hopefully people comment on this, and
how you doing out there?
How is everybody out there?
What is your life like?
I mean, the world's expensive now. The world's expensive. It's like it's changed so immensely in such a short amount of time. I don't want to get into the economic conversation.
That's a whole nother podcast.
But it's real life stuff. We don't buy steak anymore because it's so expensive. Like gas is expensive, and we live in this state that really has one thing, and that's tourism.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
that's
the industry
all Florida really offers you.
Right.
So, but I'm from New England, which is cold. Sorry, guys, but it's cold up there, and I left there to come here, and I don't regret coming here. I love the weather and all that, but it's the pandemic did something very profound.
It did, and let's face it, people that come here
makes you slow down.
They're coming here for vacation, which is a lot different than living here. Living in Florida is way different.
Oh God,
than just coming for vacation.
Yeah, that's something they don't tell you on the pamphlet.
No.
Funny story.
Uh-oh.
The year I moved here, I bought this house, and they had flesh-eating bacteria.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Oh, yes.
2019.
But from what I understand, it's always here, but just sometimes it's worse.
No, it was really bad though.
Oh,
it had killed like 5 people. It killed like these elderly people, like a bunch of older people were dying from it.
Wow.
And then that's not on the pamphlet. Come to Florida, you'll die.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
right.
It's true though.
Like, that smell of red tide.
Oh, that was some years later, but yes. No, like seriously, it's one of those things. There's always something. Yes, we have cold up in New England, but we don't die from swimming.
Great whites, but that's a whole other thing.
Good call. I mean, not many of us die from those.
No. I love sharks. So I just had to get that in there, I guess.
So yeah, so you know, what's life about? That's basically what we're sort of pondering today, and just asking you out there. You know, are you doing what you love? Is that something you're doing? You know, like I said, I'm a musician. I love to play music. If it's all I could do, that's all I've ever wanted to do, was put a couple of sticks in my hand and just play and sing my tail off. You know.
Yeah. He
But
sings beautifully.
oh, thank you. But the realism is, the society doesn't let me do that.
Right.
It's hard to do it. It's actually difficult to do. And as hard as I've worked at it, and as hard as, you know, thank you, that I'm pretty good at it, it's still difficult to form a life around that. I got plenty of friends that try to play music for a living. It's actually really, really difficult to do. More hats off to them. I know a lot of them, and they're amazing.
Well, that's another cool thing too. Like, you know, did any of you not only do what you thought you wanted to do as a kid, like, is it something you have to do on the side, or are you able to really make
sustain yourself?
Make a life out of that, make money out of it, and enjoy it? Is it what you thought it was going to be?
And what do you have to sacrifice? That's another part of it.
Yeah.
Because music it's amazing, but it's a business. A lot of people don't realize the type of business it is. You know, I used to be in an absolutely amazing original band that, you know, did the whole making it thing. And that feeds one part of you that, first of all, when the business kicks in, it's hard. It's just hard. They want a product. They're trying to get a product out of you. They're trying to get you to conform to the music industry. You want to do your own thing, that kind of thing. But then when that died and it didn't work out for me, you know, I went into playing other people's music, and there's another part of you that dies.
Oh,
I mean, it's true.
Yes,
people know that do it. If you're not creating anymore, but it's still the best job you'll ever have. I mean, I do not complain whatsoever about being able to do it. It's absolutely amazing.
Let me just tell you, if you've never seen how much stuff a drummer has, the fact that he says that, there's so much stuff. Like, so much stuff. When he's putting it in his vehicle, it has to go in a certain order, and it's like,
it has to.
And he loves it. And then how he sets it up, and it's so shiny and it's beautiful. And turns out I actually love it too, so it's great. But there's a lot. I mean, there's a difference between being a singer and being a drummer.
Well, what's the joke I always make? Next life, harmonica?
Yes.
Well, it's true, because it's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of pretty stuff, though, and it's amazing.
It's like, feels self-inflicted sometimes.
It is,
because like when it's set up, I'm like, look at all this cool shit, you know. But when I'm taking it off the stage, back into the car, back
4 hours
after,
I'm like, yes, there's a lot of stuff.
But like, you love to write. You're a writer, so it's hard to write, and it can't for it to sustain you. You know, there are plenty of people that do write and make a living doing it, but
not that many. Hard. A lot of people, writing is something they do, maybe self-publish, but to actually really make money at it, you know, I hate to say it, but some of it's a bit of luck. It's a who you know, it's a connection thing. As with any art, though, I think you have to do it for yourself. You have to love it and do it. And if you make money at it and sell it and other people love it, awesome.
You have to.
But if they don't, that's okay too, as long as you really like what you're doing.
Well, that's it right there. If you're doing your own thing and you're making your own thing, you just got to love it. Once they turn it into a business, that's where it gets hurt. We just watched a podcast with Rick Rubin.
Oh, right.
And he talked about the fact that he doesn't make music for anyone except himself. No one.
And look at him. Look at Rick Rubin. He has been true to himself since day one.
He's incredible. Awesome. I mean, listening to him talk, it's like, I would love him to read me a bedtime story. He just has like one of those.
Very sweet.
But he's so brilliant but it's a really simple approach to the art. He's just saying, I need it to be as good as it can be for me and for the artist that he's like working with as a general rule. He doesn't think about the audience at all. And that makes a lot of sense. We should never write things for others. We should only do it for us.
Make things, music, whatever it is.
So what are you doing with yourself? Are you happy with what you're doing? What are you doing? Did you want to be a firefighter growing up? That kind of thing.
One of my kids wanted to do that. She was 8. Wanted to be a firefighter. Actually took her, and she tried on all of the stuff. It's so heavy. that that's what she wanted to be when she was 8 years old, was a firefighter. I'm like, okay, all right, we
That's
happen to know
amazing.
one, so she's
Well,
doing something completely different now, which I think she's happy doing. But it's interesting sometimes what your childlike dreams are, and then what happens.
Well, it goes back to what we were talking about. What am I going to do? When we're young, we want to rush everything. When I'm
Right.
5, I can't wait to be 10 years old. Then I can't wait to be a teenager. Then I can't wait to be 16 or 18. And then I get to be 21, I get to drink, and then all your problems start.
Yeah.
But we're always trying to get somewhere. And I don't think that changes very much. I think that's something that happens to us, especially in Western culture. We never, like we said earlier, the whole living in the moment thing. We're always going, what's next?
Right. Yes.
What is the next thing?
Planning that vacation, which is great. Look forward to that.
Yep.
But, what's happening today, right now, that you can celebrate? What little thing that maybe you were just like, oh, it's not a big deal? Make it a big deal.
Yeah.
I like to say, and this is not mine, but use the good dishes. Take them out.
Yeah, you
Use
say that
them.
one a lot.
I do, because tomorrow's not promised. It just isn't. It's not promised.
And how about the Christmas premise? The idea, like, remember when you were a kid how amazing Christmas was? I'm not saying it's not still amazing, by the way. I'm saying your perspective changes. That's something that I have learned in my life as a person. I'm one of 4 boys growing up, and I remember kicking my brother, my twin brother, and going, "Hey, we gotta go look at the presents. Let's go do that." And the excitement behind that holiday was unreal, surpassed. It was. There's still nothing like it. But that's kind of the thing about it. As an adult, it switches, right? It turns into, I gotta buy Christmas gifts. When I get paid, I can use
like
this.
Stressful instead of
it's
stressful.
Like it's stressful. It becomes like this stressful endeavor. And instead of looking forward to and again, I may be I'm not even really talking for me. I'm talking in general, because I've had Christmases that I really look forward to. I've had Christmases that were very stressful because of money. And what are we doing to ourselves with that? Why does it change so much from when we're kids? That's a big problem, I think, in Western society, because then you're just piling. Is it all about the money part of it? Because I know some of my favorite gifts that I get from you, from my daughter Kelsey, or from my son Dan, or those gifts, the ones that cost nothing, are the best gifts.
The experiences.
Or experiences.
Spending time together. Yep. And mine are your handwritten notes. I love them. I drive around with them in my car. They're by my bedside. I love stuff like that. It's
amazing.
That's the magic part of it. And I think that gets lost in commercialism. I mean, it doesn't have to.
I think it can, and it's all part of not slowing down, that the stuff doesn't fix anything.
No, stuff doesn't fill you.
It does not.
It's all nice. Not saying we don't like nice things, but it's not what's important, and it doesn't keep you present, and it doesn't change anything that you might feel about yourself. It just doesn't do that. So keeping it in perspective, I like the handwritten notes. I'll take that any day.
Well, like you said, you know better than a lot of people that when you hear the words, when you hear those words uttered to you, I cannot even imagine what that must have been like for you. So I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, thank you. Me too.
But and I mean that in every syllable of that. But it's true. We're all fallible creatures. We're all. It could happen to any single one of us. Yeah. And I just hope that we can all just slow down.
Right.
Take a breath.
Enjoy the moments.
Yeah, try to enjoy. I'm working on this. I'm a work in progress. I'm not Tony Robbins yet or anything.
We're totally laughing and everything, but we have lots. You really do. So
I mean, I'm just trying to put these things into place, and that's why we're talking about it. It's kind of like just put it out to the world here. Just about trying to put these things into place. It's not going to be easy.
No,
it's going to be a work in progress, and I certainly am that in everything that I do, no matter what it is that I do. But I think slowing down and paying attention,
and really asking yourself, what is life about? Really, what's really important to you? What things do you value? People, all of those things. That's really what we're trying to say.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. So keep the conversation going. I think we've hit a lot of cool topics talking today about this stuff, and we hope that you guys enjoy it. We'll keep posting, and we'll keep posting what our next content maybe will be, and we'd love to hear from you guys. Absolutely. About topics. Maybe this conversation can spark some other topics, and put it in the comments. Let's start talking about this kind of stuff and about our society in general, how fast paced we are. Like, one of the things I know for sure about where I grew up, it's considered one of the, if not the fastest paced society in the world.
And Florida is not.
It is not. All of you know, when you visit Florida, when I first moved here, I remember at a Dunkin's, and I ordered my, extra.
Mike gets sugar with some coffee around
it. I get glucose quicksand in my coffee. I get this. It's my only vice, man.
I love it.
But I remember like ordering this from this kid, and I was like watching him, like, dude, will you hurry the fuck up? Like, in my mind,
where's my coffee?
But then I was there long enough, and I realized, it wasn't him. It was me.
Because it's so fast up north, and it's not.
Hurry. Like those of you up north, you come down here. Do you feel like you're speeding?
How he's talking real fast right now?
Right now. But wait, there's more. Back now, I'm going to year supply Boston Wells Nipple Rouge.
Oh, boy. Anyhow.
but anyway, slow down. Take a breath.
Yes.
Kiss your beautiful wife. Oh. Kiss your kids. Love you too, of course. And just slow down as this holiday approaches. This podcast is not really about the holiday, to be honest. It's really about every day. It's just like, slow down.
Every day is a holiday.
Take it in. Try to like just feel the moments with each other. That's what we try to do. I try to do. That's my message.
Yes. Thanks very much for watching, listening. We definitely would love some feedback. So, contact us, email us.
Get a hold of us.
Whatever you could do. We would love to hear from you, and just know that some of these probably are not going to be quite as funny because we actually have some really hard topics we're going to talk about coming up.
Yeah.
So, but this is just a really good way.
That was a good way to open the door.
Yeah.
I hope people like it.
Yes.
And like Shannon said, please reach out, send us an email, put
follow
in the
us.
Comments. Yeah. Follow us for sure.
All the socials.
If this strikes a nerve with you, definitely follow us, because we'll be doing a lot of these types of things. Like it won't always be smiley and
sunshine and rainbows. See what I did there?
Very nice. All right, you guys, thank you very much. Thanks. And we'll see you next time.